I think one thing about the Bitcoin community, and especially these early stages of the Bitcoining mining industry, is that you have this like Achilles heel. And that Achilles heel is basically trust.
Hmm.
A lot of people get burned in this industry. A lot of people can't trust, who they're transacting with, who they're doing business with. A lot of people can't trust even their own business partners. There's a lot of people who are in the industry who used to work together. These are all parts of Bitcoin and the mining community that makes it, a little unstable. And I think part of that is something that you kind of just naturally tapped into. Well, I need to make connections. I need to have a good time with people. I need to let them be themselves, when they're around me, themselves when they're around me. And I think that like tapping into something like that is really what almost caught like wildfire for you, in my opinion, is that you're just grasping on people's ability to be vulnerable. And people aren't very vulnerable when they do business, especially in this business where it's all about self-sovereignty, about self-custody. That's something that I've watched, being in the Bitcoin mining industry for the last 15 months. I've watched other people try to do that. But like you said, that's not a tactic. You can't fake genuineness. So when you see others do it or use the wordage for it, it's almost like, no, this isn't how it's done. One of the things you said was connecting with people, in person, getting to know people in person.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when it comes to conferences, that's really kind of the place to do it in the mining community. And, you've really been good at having people break bread and kind of just hang in the same room together and enjoy themselves. And that's where, I personally had a lot of fun kind of like doing the same, becoming vulnerable and getting to know these people within the industry. So conferences, I feel like are a really important aspect. And, I know you generally feel the same. And I guess I wanted to give you some time to kind of, chime in on that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Here in Milwaukee, I got pretty involved in the music industry from being like a street promoter for a couple different companies that were pretty prominent back in the like 2010, 2013 kind of time frame. And, later on, then I started a concert production company, through some shows, brought in like artists, and caterers and performers and massage therapists and decorators, and just tried really like unifying all these different cogs of like just artistic people in the industry.
Bartenders who juggle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was our spray painter, who you're referring to right now. Derek, great artist and performer. He was our spray painter outside doing spray paint art live at this concert. And so I really like bringing people together. Definitely. It was, I'm not a super creative person. I don't create media or, of any form really. But I liked creating and hosting events and socializing, just hopping in, meeting people. So conferences, Bitcoin Miami 21 was the first one. And there's been probably, maybe just under 10 we've done in the past 2 years. And yeah, that's really where DLI had identified, like, we want you in a sales client services role because, just running the booth there, connecting, going to these satellite events, just brought a lot of connections, a lot of business, and a lot of friends, and I just thoroughly enjoy it. I just, like I said earlier, I love just diving in and meeting people. And I like bringing that out in people. Like, that's the big thing. Like, you can be the super social person, the super, just life of the party, really boisterous and very loud and talkative. And in many ways, I am some of those things. But at the same time, you have to leave room for others and to pull that out of people. Like, it's probably something I I struggle with of, maybe cutting people off or just being really excited about stuff and talking at length in those situations. But really trying to pull that socialness and that openness and, like you said, vulnerability out of people that might not feel super comfortable in doing that. I guess it kind of stems from the music community. Like, no one's on the dance floor. Like, our 3 friends will go out on the dance floor, and then there's 7 of us and they feel good. And now there's 15 of us, and it just kind of grows from there. So, like opening yourself up to just being who you are and just being accessible, like that makes it comfortable and okay for others to do the same. In a lot of ways, sometimes it filters people out. People that are just like, no, like, don't touch me. Like at Summerfest, this guy once was like dancing next to them on the bleachers in Summerfest. And this guy was bumping. I'm like, bro, have a good time. Like, they're like, no. I'm like, okay. You can only try so hard.
Sure.
But yeah, so conferences have been a great time. And first and foremost, I'm there to connect with people, meet people. And then, from there we can see how we can help each other.
Yeah. And I think in the Bitcoin mining industry and a lot of tech industries, you have a lot of people who are shy, a lot of introverts. A lot of people are naturally social. Humans are naturally social. And like you're saying, just giving people that little bit of like a push is all it takes for them to kind of just like dive into, literally what keeps them up at night, what makes them happy. Just last week, I went to a networking event with a mutual friend of ours and got to meet some people who at the beginning, we were having dinner and they didn't really say too many words. But once we started diving into, some of the deeper ideas, next thing you know, everyone is sharing their philosophical opinions. I have a goat farmer telling me how the competition of Bitcoin mining is literally parallel to what he saw raising goats and pigs in Nebraska 20 years ago. So you really do get to connect with people if you spend that time with them. And that's a really great service to this industry where people just, it's not always easy to let yourself go. It's not always easy to have a fun time. You kind of need those people. You're like a modern version of like a bard of some sorts, just going around.
You're not the first to say that.
But it's good.
That's what Grant says. He just calls me a bard.
No, it's good. It's good to have that ability to kind of be a little bit goofy, poke a little bit of fun at yourself, and in return, give people just something different, something they wouldn't have experienced.
Yeah, you gotta hype people too up, get them excited about themselves, get them excited about what they do. When they're shy and bashful like that, like, that's freaking awesome. Like, tell us more about that. Come on, you're great. You're the best at what you do. Like, don't even lie. Like those types of, when you introduce them, like they're like literally one of the best freaking programmers you've ever met. Tell them, Dave. Like, and they're like, oh my goodness, I've worked on this. It's like, no, dude, like, you're the bomb. Like, just sometimes going over the top. It's just like the silly, like, icebreaker type, and like connecting people. That's the big thing. So like you can connect with people, but it's about connecting others. So like you go and talk with someone and, they're filling this need. It's not one you have, but later, even 2 days later, you find someone at a satellite event. That's what they're looking for. And like before you're done with the entire event, you connect those people, you introduce them, you kind of help lubricate that social interaction, that connection. And, most people that are doing that type of networking, like they're always looking to get theirs, like nickel, dime it, like where can I get my percentage, and it's like, if that's at the forefront of your intention of doing this, of solving this need in people you met and connected with, like it's not really fulfilling. It's not really motivating to me. Like by making those connections and not asking for anything in return and just authentically, continuously trying to make those connections for people, like good things happen. Like, people appreciate that. And maybe you're involved in, some aspect of business going forward just because, you put in goodwill into, solving people's needs. And So it's really about putting that first. And